Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. And today I have our first footage of games running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. We have them running at 4K, 60 FPS with ray tracing. We have a few games that we will showcase gameplay directly from the PlayStation 5 Pro today. Now, the PlayStation 5 Pro is like 4 days away. It comes out this Thursday. I am so excited. I can't wait to show you guys content from my very own PlayStation 5 Pro on the channel. Now, today we're going to be showing stuff from Gabriel Cruz. Now, I'll link it in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. And he got his PlayStation 5 Pro early and he started to test games. Now, some things are, I gotta be honest with you, very surprising to me. There are some modes and some graphic fidelity that I just was not expecting from the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, I thought the system would be really good, but it's actually exceeding my expectations. So we're gonna go through some of that stuff a little bit later on. But before I get into that, I wanna talk about the controversy with the PlayStation 5 Pro specs. Now, the specs came out yesterday because in these early PlayStation 5 Pro packages, in the instruction manual are some of the specifications. Now, all the specifications are not there. For example, it lists RDNA for the GPU, but it doesn't tell you what RDNA it is. And because of this, people are running with the narrative that it's RDNA 1, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I explained everything in yesterday's video, and I really don't want to go through it again. If you want to know all the details, just click in the description down below. I'll also link yesterday's video. But to make a long story short, basically the PlayStation 5 Pro is RDNA 3, has RDNA 4 components on it as well. Now, RDNA 3, AMD calculates their teraflops differently. Now, it has dual issue. So basically, it can do 2 instructions per cycle. Now, this is effectively doubling the teraflops. Now, you're not going to achieve this in every situation, but there are situations where it is achievable on the PlayStation 5 Pro or on RDNA 3 hardware. Now, Sony, for whatever reason, they've left this out of the pamphlet. Now, to all the people thinking that the PlayStation 5 Pro is weak hardware, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, we had a leak that was confirmed to be Sony documents that were given to developers that list the 33.5 teraflops of performance. So are you telling me that Sony doesn't know their own specifications to their consoles and that they're giving developers the wrong specifications? Now, everything doesn't need to be known to the end consumer. There are a lot of techniques that are not listed in the pamphlet. There's no mention of PSSR in the pamphlet. There's no mention of the 10% overclocking on the CPU. There's no mention of the extra 2 gigabytes of RAM for the system. There's a lot of things that are omitted from that. And Digital Foundry already broke this down. Every single outlet confirmed that these were Sony documents. In fact, Sony made every outlet take the documentation down because they were Sony's internal documents. They were their property. So they removed them. So for all these people playing these mental gymnastics, trying to downplay the PlayStation 5 Pro, you don't know what you're talking about. The specifications are officially out because we've seen the leak that was confirmed to be Sony documents. I'm like losing my mind on this. It's unbelievable, the denial and the amount of cope people are dealing with. Why do they think that a console that came out in 2020 is gonna compete with a new console coming out in 2024 is just ludicrous. It really is. Now, let's get into the fantastic footage that Gabriel Cruz provided us. Now, as you can see here, I'm scrolling through his Twitter, and you can see that Dragon's Dogma 2, he did a 4K 60 ray tracing pro mode capture. He did Spider-Man 2 at 4K 60 ray tracing on a pro mode. As well, he tested The Last of Us Part 2 with 4K 60 in the pro mode. He said he's working on Red Redemption 2 in the game boost mode. Now, he also provided a few little screens here. Let me just get back into his account. Now, he did provide fidelity ray tracing versus standard fidelity on the PlayStation 5 Pro. As you can see on the screen here, it's quite a few reflections that are not present in the non-ray tracing mode. Now, unfortunately, the fidelity ray tracing mode that is on the PlayStation 5 Pro is running at 30 FPS. Now, I'd be really interested to know if there's an unlocked mode that would see that running past 30 FPS. Even 40 FPS in a 120 hertz mode would be fantastic performance for this game. Now, before everybody says, oh, it's only 30 FPS, this game is extremely taxing on the hardware for ray tracing, even on PC. So we're not expecting miracles with the PlayStation 5 Pro. We just expect the games that are running 30 FPS on the regular PlayStation 5 to run at 60 FPS on the PlayStation 5 Pro with higher settings, better resolution, some games with ray tracing included. That's what we're expecting. We're expecting a much better, or I should say a better quality PlayStation 5 or better quality current gen game running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And that's what I believe that the PlayStation 5 Pro will deliver. PSSR, I'm telling you guys, it's only going to get better over time. So let's get into some of his footage here. First, I think we should probably start off with Dragon's Dogma. So we'll put it up on the screen here. Now he's going through the settings. Ray tracing is turned on, motion blur is on, PSSR is on with prioritizing graphics. Now, as you can see on the screen here, it's a little bit faded out, and I think that's just the way that he captured it. I don't think he captured it with the right settings, and that's okay. We just really want to see the performance here. And as you can see, it's running, appears to be at 60 FPS. Now, this is Dragon's Dogma 2. This game doesn't go higher than, I believe, like 37 FPS on the regular PlayStation 5. Yet we have it here running at 60 FPS with ray tracing turned on. Now, I will be fair, we aren't in the city, so we're gonna need to see a comparison when it's actually in the city itself and you're really stressing the PlayStation 5 more. Then we'll get to see the true performance of it. But Digital Foundry kind of did go into the city and they were able to get around 55, 56 FPS with Dragon's Dogma 2. So we don't know if this game has received a update since Digital Foundry tested it. I don't know if this footage is the latest version of the game, but as you guys can see for yourself, it is running good. It's not running at 30 FPS. This is clear as day. You can see that it's definitely running at 60 FPS. Now, I wish I could analyze the frames and give you guys the true metric of it, but I just believe that the quality of the capture is probably not good enough for me to get accurate footage. So we're just gonna have to deal with what we have right now. But overall, as you can see, it looks to be running at 60 FPS. There's lots of graphical modes that you can choose in this game. I'm pretty sure there's more than just the prioritizing graphical settings. You're also gonna have a performance mode in this game. So I'd like to see the max frames per second that you'd get running Dragon's Dogma in the performance mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro. We know that it's going to have better settings than the regular PlayStation 5, yet still running at 60 FPS. So right there, I think this is a pretty good resolve for Dragon's Dogma 2. We know that this game is pretty heavy on the CPU. It's CPU limited, and we're seeing it getting better performance on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now let's move over to Spider-Man 2 footage. Now, he's testing Spider-Man in the performance mode as well as the graphics mode. Now, in the graphics mode, you're going to see that he actually puts the ray tracing to maximum, too high. And you're going to see that the reflections look absolutely stunning. Now, once again, it's a little bit washed out, and this is because the gamma settings, they're not correct on his capture. I don't know if he captured this within the system itself or if he had a capture card, but the gamma is definitely off on this, so that's why it looks a little bit faded out. But we're just looking at the performance. We're trying to look at the graphical details, like in the ray tracing, in the textures, and the frame rate. So that's what we're looking at here. I'm just gonna let it play for like a couple of minutes, and I'll come back in and we'll discuss what we saw. Now, as you can see right here, the ray trace reflections, this looks to be roughly maybe around what the PlayStation 5 has at their performance settings. That's what it looks like roughly to me. So I would say maybe the lower settings for ray tracing right there. And then he's going to go through the city a little bit more. I'll try to speed it up. And then when he toggles the high ray tracing on, you will really see the difference in ray tracing. And honest to tell you, ray tracing is fantastic when it's done properly. I think Spider-Man is one of those games that does ray tracing really well. In fact, I think most of the best ray tracing games I've seen this generation are pretty much on the Sony platform, excluding, of course, Alan Wake 2. Now, that game has fantastic ray tracing, as well as Cyberpunk. But of course, we're not getting that type of fidelity of ray tracing within Cyberpunk on the consoles. Now, actually, I'd really like to see what Cyberpunk looks like on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Are they going to add some extra ray tracing features in there? Are they going to increase the resolution of the ray tracing reflections? That's going to be another game that I'm looking forward to people testing. Now, as you can see right now on the screen, he's changing the ray tracing settings. Now, it's in Portuguese, so unfortunately I don't understand it, but I can pretty much see from the toggles that he's selecting that he is changing the ray tracing to high settings. Now, he's going to whip through the city a little bit here, and he's going to go onto one of the buildings, and then you're going to see the reflections for yourself. After that happens, I'll come back and give you guys like my reaction to it. Now, I believe right about here, he goes on to the building and you can see the reflections or the quality of it. Now, as you can see here, these are the high settings within ray tracing. These look like the high settings that I see this game on. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. If I'm being honest with you guys, these look exactly like the high settings on PC. So we're getting really good image quality with ray tracing in Spider-Man. And I gotta be honest with you guys, a lot of people were kind of making fun of Alan Wake saying, oh, it's using lower than low ray tracing. Now that is one game, and the ray tracing that is in Alan Wake is extremely heavy. That game is actually capable of doing path tracing. So you know that's one of the most advanced games for ray tracing. But in Spider-Man, we're seeing that you have an option of using the highest preset for ray tracing. And like I always say, options are always a great thing. Now let's switch over to The Last of Us Part 2. Now, as you can see, it's rendering in the Pro mode. Motion blur is turned off. You can see all of the settings. It's running in the PlayStation 5 Pro mode. So this is the highest fidelity and the highest frame rate that you're going to get on the PlayStation 5 Pro mode. So it's basically the graphical mode that is on the regular PlayStation 5 at 60 FPS, running at a higher resolution. And once again, I got to apologize for his capture because he's obviously not using the proper gamma. I'm going to try to fix it up a little bit in editing. I doubt that I'm really be able to make many changes to it. It's still going to look kind of washed out. Just ignore that. Pay attention to the details, the crispness of the quality of the textures, and of course the frame rate.
Where did you go from here? 2425 constants. Yeah, that's gotta be it. How would she get up to the street from here?
Now, that action speaks for itself. It looks fantastic on the PlayStation 5 Pro. In all honesty, it looks comparable to what I get on PC with these games. So the PlayStation 5 Pro for me is impressing me. The reason why I want a PlayStation 5 Pro is because I don't want to have to wait to play my games on PC. I want to be able to play them on the PlayStation 5 Pro with 60 FPS and high fidelity. And the PlayStation 5 Pro offers that. Now, previously, I would have to wait until these games were ported to PC, and most times it's like a year to 2 years. I no longer have to wait. I no longer have to put up with, bad frame rate or lower resolution or lower textures that the PlayStation 5 offers. Especially now that I play most of my games on PC, it's a little bit jarring when I play it on console. So the PlayStation 5 Pro offers me that PC-like experience on a PlayStation console. It's also giving me better performance on all the multiplats. So that's the reason why I'm excited for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And you're seeing the footage for yourself, and you can decide, does it look better than the regular PlayStation 5? Is this something that you think is worth getting? For me, it definitely is. Now let's go into one more title that he has on his channel here. Now he also just put up Dragon Age on his channel running in the PlayStation 5 Pro mode. Now, unfortunately, it's not in English, so we're just gonna have to bear with the settings. If some of you guys understand what the settings are, let me know in the comment section down below. But this is running in the PlayStation 5 Pro mode. I think this is in the highest setting. Now, once again, I wish I had the metrics up so I could really see the performance. So it kind of defeats it for me, and I can't really analyze this footage because, in all honesty, the quality is not where you'd like it to be in order to put into the tools in order to get the frame rate, but it does look like it's running really good. Now, of course, I'm going to wait till later on this week when Digital Foundry and all these other outlets get their hands on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then we're going to get really good metrics. Now, we know that it also has a boost mode for PlayStation 4 games. He also did test that with Bloodborne. Now, as you guys can see, it does resolve a better image quality. Now, I wish that they would completely unlock this game. I'm not quite sure they're doing that with the PlayStation 5 Pro mode running this PlayStation 4 game. That's why this week's launch is going to be so exciting, because finally we're going to have the metrics. We're going to know the true performance of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, initially, I'm really impressed with the performance that I'm seeing off of these games. I have to get the system in for myself. I have to watch, other reviewers that get it before me and that are able to do more tests on it to really truly see the performance of the PlayStation 5 Pro. But overall, I think it's going to be a great update for those that get it. I'm excited for the system. And like I said, I'm going to have it on the channel this week, and we're going to dissect it and play a lot of games. We're going to have some live streams. We're going to have some fun with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about these games performing in the PlayStation 5 Pro mode? Are you impressed with Spider-Man? Are you impressed with Dragon Age? Are you impressed with the improved fidelity that we're getting from Bloodborne? Let me know in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.